Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Learnifier Live. This is an event where you as a customer can get updated on all the latest releases and what's coming up ahead. My name is Rebecca Canefelt, and I work here as a digital marketing manager. And today, I also have the very cool mission of being your moderator. Soon, I will hand over the word to my talented colleagues. But before that, let's have a quick look at the agenda for today. We'll start the morning with talking about Learnifier today. We'll get to listen to our CEO and our co-founder, Mattias Borg, taking us through the why behind this event. And you'll also get to see the Learnifiers on the screen. After that, it's time to take the pulse when our CTO and co-founder Jerker Klang talks through all the latest releases that we have been developing. Then it's time to dive deeper into two fancy releases. We're going to get to listen to my colleague Esther Andersson from our customer success team, who's going to be talking about TeamView. And after that, we're going to get a short demo into the brand new image editor. And what these are, I will leave as a cliffhanger for later. Then it's time to make a break for it. We thought that this is an excellent opportunity for everyone who works with learning, you guys, to be able to network, share, and learn from each other. And more about that a little bit later in this agenda. Then we're going to be talking about coming to a Learnifier near you. We'll get to listen to Mattias Borg again, taking us into the future and what's coming. And then at the end, we'll do a small wrap up of the day. Just some practicalities throughout this event. Feel free to post questions in the chat, and we'll try and catch these as we go along or pick them up at the end. We will be recording this, so if you want to watch it again, or if you have someone in your team or in your company that you want to show this to, that's definitely possible. But now it's time for me to hand over the word to Mattias, coming to you live now from his home, his living room in Stockholm, Vasastan. The digital stage is yours, Mattias.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for that introduction, and hi to everyone out there. It's very exciting to have you all here today. I see that people are still popping in on this beautiful Wednesday morning here in Stockholm, but from everywhere you're joining around Sweden, but also I know from other countries. So super excited to have you here. I thought we would start with showing you a few other faces than mine and Rebecca. We are a growing team, and I'm so excited to present a number of new colleagues. We've actually had, in the last 3 months, we've had 5 new people joining our team. Diana, Esther, Johan, Erika, and Rebecca. And we're now 23, I think, in the team. So I think that if everyone on the Learnifier team can please turn on their camera and maybe wave to all of our customers, and you have the names up there. Yes, everyone up with your hand. We have it. Yes, that's Lucas. That's great. So a few of us will be presenting today, but as you can see, there are more people behind the scenes, and a few of these people you might not see the faces of that often, for example, working on the product. And a few of them you meet regularly. For example, you might see Esther quite often communicating with support errands, etc. As I said, we've grown the team, and we're actually going to continue to grow the team, which I'm also very excited to, because obviously this is a team that makes it possible together with you as our customers. As I mentioned, the last quarter we've added 5 new people to the team, and we will continue also adding additional team members. So we're right now recruiting 5 more people, hoping to join within the next quarter. So I want to show this because this is also what you're making possible as our customers, because As some of you might know, we are bootstrapped, meaning we're not venture funded. We're growing with you, our customers. So I want to start by thanking you for that and making it possible to work with you. So it's not only the team growing, obviously, it's also the number of customers, i.e. you. So in the last year, we've had 100 plus, more than 100 new companies that have joined us as customers. And obviously this is something that we are very excited about. The majority of you are still in the Nordics, especially in Finland, Norway, and Sweden. But we actually have customers in plus 30 countries, and about 80% is still in the Nordics. But as I guess you've already figured out, that's why we're doing this event from now on in English, because we want to be able to present it in a good way for all our customers around the globe. This is also something that I'm showing you not just as a brag slide. Obviously, we are very proud of this, but more importantly, the community of Learnifier users and customers is growing. And that's part of the reason why we are hosting this event today, because there's a lot of smart and courageous people that are working within Learnifier. And I wouldn't be that surprised, to be honest, if one of the great takeaways today for you will come out of the breakout sessions that we will have later today. We know that from our running similar events in the past, it's been very much appreciated to meet with other people that are doing a similar work that I do, also happens to using the same tool, but more importantly, doing the same work, probably having the same challenges. So that's also something that as you become more Learnifier users, more value is created. This also, as obviously we're growing as a team and we're getting more customers, that also makes it more possible for us to invest more in what we're doing. And I also briefly want to mention that, because every penny that we make, because obviously as a business, that's part of what we do, we get revenues, is reinvested into the business. And I'm going to talk more about that later, but our focus now is really to build our product team and to continue to build our customer success team. And I want you to know that we fully understand that you as a customer is really your experience and your happiness with what we're doing is obviously key to our success. And in that way, it's truly mutual success. If you're successful, we're successful. So that's why we're also investing in the customer success teams and the product team now, really growing that to make sure that you have both a better product, an even better product, but also being able to provide even better support and service as we continue to grow. I also want to mention that our focus has always been learning. Our mission is to help you share learning both within and between organization. That still is true. We're not changing that. We're rather continuing to focus deeply on learning. We have no ambitions to be a broader platform in the sense that we're trying to cover different areas. We will rather go deeper within this area and provide more functionality and possibilities within the area of learning. So I just want to mention that because that often happens at this stage, but where you will see us growing is rather in the depth of learning than expanding into areas that are related to learning. And that will also hopefully become evident as you see what we're working on in terms of the product. I also want to talk briefly about a few other things that we're doing. So one of the things you might have seen already is that we've actually left our office here in Stockholm. We're now working fully remote. That is obviously related in a large degree to the ongoing pandemic, but it's also because we are looking to set up a new office, which we're calling as a concept currently Learnifier Studios. We haven't been able to get this location yet on Manhattan, but we are looking for our first location here in Stockholm now that we will hope to be able to open in Q4 of this year. Why am I mentioning this? It's just not because we want to have a cool fancy office for us to work in, but it's also that with this studio, we want to create possibilities for you to come to us if you, for example, have needs for accessing a studio for recording video, making podcasts and things like that. So producing content. And we want to share this with you today, because if you have these needs, it would be interesting to hear now already what those needs are, so that we can start planning even more precisely in trying to meet those needs. The other thing with that we're also doing is that we're currently recruiting for a role called a learning designer. And I want to briefly mention this because I've had some questions from customers regarding this role. So I want to be clear, our mission is still to continue to build a tool that makes it easier and enables you to create learning and create courses, etc. But we know that a number of you as companies either miss the competence or the resources in doing that. So we want to be able to provide those services. So that's why we're now hiring, so that we can help you, for example, with producing courses, building out courses, advising in pedagogy, etc. So that's also something that we're adding, helping you to not only provide the platform, but also related services with that. Still within the area of learning, obviously, with that focus. So that's also something that we're doing and that we're excited to share with you, that we're moving that direction. And we're also excited to talk more with you as customers about what that could mean to you and what needs you have. One thing that I also want to bring up today is that this is our first Learnifier live event. In the past, we've had a number of user conferences, and this is to some degree rebranding of the user conference to Learnifier Live. But it's also a shift in how we work internally. So what we're doing now is that we're working in what we call pulses. And I want to share this with you because I think it's good for you to know what the process is on our end, what our horizon is that when we're planning product releases, for example. So obviously today is May 19th, and we're hosting our first Learnifier Live event. And the show up has been great. I think we have plus 100 people here now, which is great. So today, as you'll see, we're going to share what we've been working on the last quarter, especially on the product side. And then what we'll do is that we'll host a Learnifier Live event every quarter. That's our ambition. The live events in May and November will be slightly longer and also allow for you to talk to each other and to interact. Our idea is that the events in August and February will be shorter, more focused, just talking about what has happened in terms of releases since we last spoke. So this is the idea, and as we talk today, it will be talking about what we've done in the last pulse, which was pulse number 1. And I will also, at the end of this session, briefly talk about what we'll be working in pulse 2, and also a bit on the longer horizon, what our direction is. So this is what you can expect. Obviously, we will communicate in more detail between these live events, but this is really a way for us to meet with you, for you to get a summary of what we've been working on. We will continue to communicate with you both via email and in the application directly, as we've done in the past. So this is rather in addition to how we communicated priorly. So, as promised, I will now hand over to our cat-loving CTO, Jerker Klang, who co-founded Learnifier together with me. And he will tell you more about what we have been working on in the last pulse that is launching today and in the upcoming weeks here. So, over to you, Jerker.
Thank you very much, Matthias. That was a perfect handover. We will be talking, or I will be talking about some of the things we have been working in the last pulse. Learnifier is a large product, and it's not always evident that we are adding a lot of functions, but we are. And before I will mention, before I will go into the different features, I want to mention two things. The first is that we will give you more information about these features further on, because I can only talk about them very shortly. So more information about them will come, and if you have questions as well, you can always reach out to us. We love to talk features. And the features I mentioned now will be rolled out the upcoming weeks. So some people will have access to them directly, and some will be available soon. So one of the features we have now is that we have an integration with a platform called Zapier. Zapier allows Learnifier users to easily integrate with over 3,000 different other services and apps. So a person with not that advanced developer skills can very easily set up an integration with just a few clicks. So if something happens in Learnifier, an action can be triggered in another platform, or the opposite. So this is a very cool thing. We have also added in our public API, we have an API that allows you to do a lot of things. And we have now added the ability to configure courses completely from the API. So now you can create a course instance or a project, for those who knows that term, from the API, and you can do all configuration in another system if you want to do that kind of integration. And I also want to mention that the API documentation is always available at learnifier.com/API. Besides the course configuration, we have also added additional API functions for certificates. As you might know, we added a certificate function a while ago. And we know you want more features related to certificates, and more are upcoming. But for now, we have added API functions that allow you to issue certificates to users, to list information regarding the certificates and who they have been awarded to. And there is also a webhook so that Learnifier can notify other systems when certificates are issued. And those features I mentioned now has been fairly technical. The next thing we have, the next feature we are finally releasing is something that I know a lot of people have been waiting for, and that's a new updated design on the self-registration page. There is now the ability to add more content to the self-registration page. So the person signing up can read more about what they actually are signing up to. And the overall design of the self-registration page are more aligned with the whole branded Learnifier experience. So I know a lot of people look forward to this one. Also, another thing that I also know that some people have been waiting for is that the Learnifier app that is available for Android and iOS devices are now finally supporting single sign-on. So companies that are using single sign-on can now use the app. Also, we have had a limitation earlier that if any of you are using a custom domain when using Learnifier. You have not been able to use the app, but now you will with this release. So that's also very cool. Content and the courses are obviously the base of the whole Learnifier platform. And to make it easier to create content and cool courses, we have now added support for an image bank called Unsplash. It contains millions of images that are freely usable to your courses, and we also provide some new layout features for how you work with images in Learnifier. I will not go into details about it right now, but we will come back to it a bit later with a demonstration of some of these features. Another thing that also adds and give the learners an ability to find content more is a new search function. I know a lot of people have been waiting for it, and now learners can easily find content in courses that they have access to. So that increases the engagement of the learners, and the Learnifier tool becomes more of an actual tool for the users, as they more easily can find course materials and courses they have access to. Beside that, maybe a bit technical, but still an important thing, we now have support for using your own mail server. So if you are a customer to Learnifier and you want to send emails, or rather, if you want Learnifier to send emails in your name so that invitations and all invitations become more branded from you, that ability now exists. So that this has two upsides. The first upside is that the email reputation of the sendouts are yours, and the sender, if someone looks at the actual email sender, the from address will be from you. So we believe that this also is a quality improvement that some of you really will enjoy. An additional feature that we also have is attendance registration. So now we have a function in the administrative interface that makes it possible to register attendance for all events in courses. So you can easily mark who attended to, for example, a live or a webinar. You can now mark and store that information in Learnifier. This is just the first version of this function, and more layers to this will be added as we go. And least but not last, well, it is actually the last but not least thing is that we are working with some of the stuff that might be a bit boring, but it is very important, and that is security and compliancy. There are things going on in the tech world, and regulations, security, and confidentiality, and all these things are important aspects. And we are following the trends and news intensively for your sake, and we are doing a lot of things to make Learnifier a good place to reliably and safely store your customers' information in. We have done several things, as there are some ongoing larger questions around GDPR, so we have stopped using a few sub-processors to make things more in alignment with best practices in the IT industry. So that's it. That's some of the features that we have been working with the last Pulse. As I said, more information will be provided to you further on. But let's go into some demonstration instead. So I'm handing over to Esther that will show us some cool stuff. So thanks for me.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerker. My name is Esther, and I work as a customer success hero here at Learnifier. Today, I will guide you through our new function that we call Team View. Our vision when developing this function was being able to move some areas of responsibilities from the administrator to the team manager. This way, the team manager would have more responsibility and would also have easier access to information about their team and also have permission to view members' progress more in depth. And research shows that the manager's engagement in learning is crucial. A manager must prioritize employees' learning by committing time and space for daily development and growth. This could, for example, be that a manager enrolls employees to new courses when another course is completed. We want all managers to be engaged in their team's learning, and therefore we have created this function that we call Team View. So the Team View function consists of mainly 3 parts. First of all, Team View allows for an overview of which courses the team members are enrolled in, as well as their progress in each course. You can both see your members in a list and go in-depth study for each person. It is also possible to go to a specific course, team course, to view your members' progress. And as a manager, you can only see your own team and will therefore not be able to see the names of other people taking the course unless they are part of your team. Certificates. If you have our other function called certificates turned on, your team manager will also be able to see their members' certificates, such as those who have already received a certificate and those certificates who are about to expire. This function is extremely vital for some who have organizations where participants must complete a course every year in order to perform their work. And to summarize, the manager can see and follow up their team in a very, very easy way. And if they see that some of their members need to update their certificates, they can push them to do so. Approvals. If you have the course catalog turned on, you have access to a function where you can moderate courses. This basically means that the participant can register for a course in the catalog, but not start it until they are approved. Previously, administrators had to accept or deny enrollment applications. Now, a team manager has the right to do this as well. An example of when this would be useful is if a participant paid prior to enrolling in a course, or maybe has to receive some other certificates to be qualified. Team managers are also able to enroll their members to new courses without the participant actually self-registering to the course. For example, if I, as a team manager, see that my colleague Hannah has completed a course, I can, by just 2 clicks, enroll her to a new course in my list. It is the administrator that determines which courses a team manager sees in this list. If you use our function groups, you will notice that this function will be replaced by teams. All groups you have created before will automatically transform to teams instead. The only thing you need to do now is to set a team manager to each team. She or he will automatically see a new tab called Teams in their interface the next time they log in. TeamView will be available from Price Plan Professional and will be activated this week. If you would like to know more about how you can use this function, please let us know and we'll arrange a meeting. That's all for me. Thank you so much for listening. Now it's time for my colleague Niklas to talk about some more recently released functions. Over to you, Niklas.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you. My name is Niklas Wikström, and I work as a front-end engineer here at Learnifier. And today I'm going to show you some new possibilities with image editing that has been added quite recently to Learnifier. So we're going to have a live demo here. So I have now entered the Learnifier course builder, where I have prepared for this. And we're going to start by uploading 2 images to this activity. So I select upload files and those 2 files. And as you notice, we now have a small icon that displays the image is uploaded and a new button here that says edit image. So let's click on edit image and do some editing before the image is added to the activity. Okay, so here we have got some new basic image editing buttons. We have the possibility to rotate the image. We can flip it differently, upside down, vertically, zoom in. We have a cropping tool. The image. We can set different ratios of this cropping tool. If we want a square image, for instance, or 4:3 ratio, or 16:9. I'll use 16:9 ratio for this example. So we'll select it and click on save. So now the edited image is saved to a Learnifier server. And we can also edit the image afterwards when it has been added to the activity page. And as we can see, we have a quite common scenario here where we have a nice picture of a dog here that has been added from my mobile phone, and of course it's not rotated correctly. So we'll rotate it, change the ratio 16:9, and save it as well. And this can also be done from the library when you upload on the admin page. So you don't have to be in the course builder to do the added editing of the images. So let's add those images to the activity page. So here we have the new edited images. And one quite nice trick here is that you saw that I had the same fixed 16:9 ratio for both those 2 images, which automatically gives the same height of those images, which could be nice to know if you have 2 columns and want a nicer layout. Yes, and to edit afterwards, we have an icon that will open the same image editing dialog as you just saw. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to add unsplash images that was mentioned earlier. Click here, image. And instead of uploading image, we have this from Unsplash tab. And here we can basically search for anything. There are millions of high quality photos. So let's look for a cow, for instance. It's that time of the year. So here we have endlessly resource of cows, car, a lot of nice cars, learn. So we'll image looks nice. And here we just can click on the plus icon and it will be added directly to the activity, or we can select this edit image button where we can crop the image before it's added. So let's add it. So now we can see, okay, I just want this cool text part. So let's click on this edit pencil and do some cropping here. That's nice. Save. Much better. And same here, we can enter it afterwards. Click edit. It will open up and you can see the original image in the background, change the cropping area and save it. If we want to replace it, we can search for a new photo in Unsplash. Yes, one other new thing is a new toolbar icon here that has been added, where you can change the width of, in this case, the Unsplash image. Click on this, we get an extended toolbar here where we can use the slider to change the width of this Unsplash image. We can select right, align, center, left, and so on. And this width possibility is not only for images, it can be used for other products as well when you build nice courses. As you can see here, we can select, we have a video added, we can change the width of this video, we have texts, change width here, have it left, center, and so on. We can do a quick preview. Yeah. So that gives quite a lot of flexibility when creating courses to have a more creative approach to design your activity pages. Yes, and I have one last thing to show you regarding uploaded images. Here we have this nice dog and it's perfectly aligned in this column. And in this case, we can see that it was a smaller image that doesn't stretch out the full column. And that can happen sometimes, maybe. But now we have the possibility to click on this button to use the full width of column, and the image will be scaled 100%. It might get a bit blurry, but quite okay, I think. Yes, I think that's all for me right now. We'll hand over to Rebecca. Thank you.
We are starting to come back to the main room now. Welcome back. We hope that you've had good discussions in your room. Normally, it feels like time is not enough once you get started, but there will be opportunities to talk more after this event, of course. We'll make sure to give you some forums to do that. Yes, let's move on to the future. If I have my colleague Matthias Borg here, he will tell you about what's coming up next. So Matthias, back again to your office in Vasastan.
Thank you. So just briefly, Marie asked me to, I know that in a few rooms, maybe there were just 2 of you and a few larger rooms, but hopefully you had a good discussion anyways, potentially in a few different formats. So also something that would be interesting to hear for coming, we will come back to that, coming events, how to best share experiences with each other. But as Rebecca said, I will be talking a bit about what will happen in the next Pulse. So as we've already explained, we are releasing a number of new features in the coming days and weeks here. And we will now start working in our next Pulse, and that will then lead up to our next Learnifier live event, which will be in the end of August. We will within shortly get back to you with a specific date and invite for that event as well. And that will be a little bit of a shorter event where we will give you an update on what we've been working on. What I'll do now is that I will talk about a few different areas that we are working on in general to kind of give you a sense and an idea of what the direction is for the product. I will also specifically mention a few things that we will be working with in the next Pulse. And what I mean with that is something that you can expect to be ready by end of August. So it's a bit of a mix of the two. Let's see if it works out. It's not always easy to keep the two apart, but I'll try to be clear what is coming next and what is more of a directional information on where we're headed. As I said earlier in this session, we are still very focused on learning, and that's also something that you can keep in mind because it's focused on creating a tool that is better for creating learning experiences. If it's an onboarding journey or a longer learning experience, doesn't really matter, but that's the focus of what we're doing. So the first area I want to talk a bit about is that we are working on updating and working on the design in a broader sense in Learnifier. So what this means is that we are now currently working on updating both the look and feel of the product. This is something that you will see start showing up later this year in the product. So this will not be ready by end of August, but we're currently working on this. The idea here is both to improve the user interactions, because obviously the technology is evolving very fast, and we want to make sure that we are ahead of that, or at least moving with that pace to make sure that it's a fluent and nice user experience. We're also updating the design in general when it comes to what you probably normally think of as design, colors, shapes, etc. So that will also be updated. And also one thing that we received the feedback on is that today you can brand your experience, but we're going to add additional possibilities for you to brand and make visual changes to your experience. And hopefully at our next live event, we will be able to share a number of sketches and designs of what this will look like. And then you will see this start showing up in the product later this year. So this is a key thing for us. We always, we value design, good design. As I said, in a broader sense, where it comes both to, I realize my image went away here. Let's see if it comes back. There we go. Sorry about that. So this is something that we will be working on. My computer went into screen saving mode. My apologies for the little hiccup there. So the next piece I want to talk about is analytics. This is also something that we are preparing. It will not show up in the next release, but we know that we're getting a lot of requests on. It's sometimes called beautiful reporting, and we've called this area analytics. So what we want to make possible is both for the administrators, the learning designers, and for managers and participants to get analytics that can help them make decisions faster, easier, and better. So visualized information that can help you with understanding what is going on. So this could be exemplified with when you're creating a course. It could be analytics around how well it's performing, how many are completing it, making that more predictive so you can get an insight into that. This is also something that we value highly, and we are starting to prepare things here and planning for this later in the year. Moving on though to integrations, this is also, as I said, we are know that for most of you, we are working together with other software platforms or tools in some way. And this is really core of how we see ourselves, that we want to be able to play nice with other systems, because we believe that it's an ecology of software and you are probably using tens or if not hundreds of different applications. And already today, we believe that we have a really strong API. We get a lot of good feedback from you, and we're so excited to see that so many of you are actually integrating either on your own or using Zapier, for example, with our platform. We will, in the next Pulse, add a new integration with recruiting software called TeamTailor. We have already a number of prepared integrations with Ditra HR. We have with a system called EduAdmin, and we will now be adding a prepared, ready integration with recruitment software TeamTailor. So, and as Jerker mentioned, we've also been releasing in this Pulse a number of updates to the API around certifications, the ability to create courses, etc. via API. So this is something that we're working on and will continue to work on. Our API today and the ability to integrate with Learnifier is, I would say, strong, if I may say so myself, on the administrative side, on the course creation side. What we're looking at in the future is also adding additional capabilities on the learning experience side. So we already have an API for that, but it's not that well used. So we want to see if we can make it even easier for you to integrate things like that could improve your learning experiences. So to give you an example, in a few weeks, and I will see if we can send out the link to this, we will actually host a webinar with another company called Wobbling, and they do VR and AR, so virtual reality and augmented reality for training. So in that webinar, you will see a couple of examples of how you can use AR and VR, integrate, and also 360 video, etc., integrated into Learnifier. So once again, it's not only on the admin side and the creation side, it's also on the experience side. We want to make sure that we add additional integrations, so we don't have to build everything because we can't be the best at everything, but rather partner and integrate with other platforms. So TeamTailor integration coming, and also a bit of a heads up for the webinar on together with Wobbling, where they will show what they can do in AR and VR. Another thing that we're also working on, and we've you've probably seen this, is that creating automations in different ways. We have what we call automated communications, where you can send automated messages, for example, via email or SMS to participants already today. This is something that we will improve and continue to work on. In the next Pulse, releasing in August, we will add the possibility both to send automated communications to a generic email address. So the scenario might be that you want to, when something happens in a learning experience, you might want to send an email to a specific email address. It could be in an onboarding journey. You might want to send an email address to someone in IT, for example. So that's one piece that we're adding. We're also adding the possibility to send automated messages to the manager, to the team manager. So as you heard earlier, we've added the team view. We're now making it possible also to automatically communicate with the manager of the participant that is going through the learning journey. So that's also something that we're going, and you will continue to see us adding additional automations. Another thing that is also coming in this next pulse is the possibility to auto-enroll participants once they've completed a course. So what that means, if I take a course in Excel, for example, once I've completed that course, I can automatically be enrolled in another course that might be PowerPoint, for example, just using a silly example. So these are two examples of what we're doing in the next pulse, but you will also continue seeing us adding things when it comes to automations. As I started out saying, this is obviously at one of the cores of what we're trying to create value, and creating even more engaging and available ways of learning and improving the learning experience. So a number of things that we will be doing in the future is adding more interactivity into the experience. We are also looking at adding additional formats. In my breakout room, we talked, for example, about nuggets. That is something that sits on the roadmap that we will look into to create better possibilities for microlearning. What will happen in the next pulse in this area is that we will make it possible for participants in a course to share, for example, videos with other participants. So upload and share materials with other participants in a course. That is something that is happening in this next pulse. We will also increase translations. I think we have 21 or 22 today, something like that. We're adding Arabic during this pulse, so we will have right to left support. So that's also very exciting. So Arabic will be available. We will also make updates to how completion is shown within an activity so that it becomes even clearer and more obvious to a learner what they need to complete, what is optional, etc. Because we see as you start building more complex learning experiences, that learners sometimes get confused on what should be completed and not. So that is also something that is going to be clarified. And we've done updates to the mobile app. We will continue making updates to the mobile app, more specifically making sure that the app automatically opens if you have it installed as soon as you click on Learnifier links. That's also things that are happening. But in general, obviously, we will continue to invest here to make it more an interactive and engaging experience and adding new formats. The last piece, excuse me, I wanted to cover is that obviously the other side of that coin is learning design and administration. And we want to make it even easier for you to work administratively, but also in creating experiences within Learnifier. In this next pulse, what we will be doing is that we are so happy and excited to see that we have a number of clients that have so many projects now that they're becoming hard to manage. So we are adding folders to the projects view, which will then make it possible to organize. And we couldn't be more excited about this challenge because it really shows that you are using it a lot. So that's also something that will be added. So that is a bit of a summary of what we will be working in the next pulse. And obviously there are other things going on continuously to maintain the quality and the performance of the product. But these are some of the larger things that we will be working on and are looking forward to show you at the other end of this, hopefully coming summer, at least on this Northern Hemisphere. As a last piece of this part, talking about the product, I wanted to give you an opportunity to share, because we are always in dialogue with you in different formats, but also having you here today, I wanted to give you a chance to express what would you want to see in the near future in Learnifier. So you probably used Menti before, Mentimeter. So if you just either go there with your phone now and either type in the address of the code or just point your camera to this QR code and it will actually automatically bring you to Menti. At least, yeah, I think both on Android and iOS. So you can try that out. I'll just type this in. And then I would appreciate if you can just name 3 features or improvements that you want to see in the near future. And if you just have one, fine, you can submit that as well. And I will then bring up word cloud on the screen here, so you actually will be able to see what you're sharing. Let's see, it seems as, hold on a second here. So I think that it seems as it had turned off the voting possibilities. If you please try again, I think you should be able to submit your votes here now.
And now it works.
Maybe someone can confirm that they can submit it.
Yeah, we just needed to refresh and then it got to work again.
Perfect. So let's see if it starts showing up here.
Drum roll.
Drum roll, exactly. So let's see what comes on the screen here. Here it starts happening. So I will.
We did not see the screen.
Yes, there we go. Now it's starting to show up here.
Yay!
Great.
Wow, I love voice messages with music. Gamification, digital e-badge. It's exciting. Automation. It might be that we, for some of these, might have to reach out and ask for additional Kahoot integration. Interesting. Logos over reporting. A lot of great ideas. I'll let this one be open for a bit more so that you have a chance to see. Kind of excited to see that automation stands out this far. See if it stays that way. So I think we can keep this screen open actually. And what I'll do is that I'll hand it over to you, Rebecca. We are 4 minutes into our stop time. So I'll let you summarize as we'll see what happens on the screen. And obviously we will send you the results of this Menti together with the other materials after today here. So I'll hand it over to you, Rebecca.
Thank you, Matthias. And thanks to all of you that have joined us today at this Learnifier live event. We hope that these releases excite you and will make your learning experience created going forward even better. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we have recorded this and we will send you the recording as well as the slides afterwards. We will also send you a compilation of the notes from your discussions in the rooms. And please feel free to contact us if you want more details about these features. We are very happy to jump on a web call with you and just go into more details. And I just want to say again, a big thank you from us here at Learnifier, and we hope to see you all again very soon.